So, like many people, I set myself a reading goal this year. You know, usually you say, oh, I'd like to read 100 books this year. I'd like to read 12 books this year. I just want to read one more book than I did last year. A lot of very common ones. My only goal for myself this year was to read more books than I buy. In the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, they're probably about even-ish. Yeah. Yeah, 1 second. We're just gonna do that. So as you can see, I'm not doing so great. I think it's still very doable. I'll have bought 100 books, which, yes, that is insane, but also, oh well. I can definitely meet that. I've got a lot of small books I've been sitting on, I've been saving. It's doable. But it's also just very embarrassing that it's just doable. And it's not like, of course, you can read double the amount of books you buy in a single year. But despite that embarrassment, this has actually been an incredibly productive month. This vlog has so far very much kept me on my reading goals, and I'm so delighted by that. I'm so proud of that. So there were, if you recall to my last currently reading, a study in what I'm currently reading video, there were a lot of books that I'd said, ooh, I've been reading this for like months on end so far. But I finished a lot of those because I was like, I don't want to talk about this book again. I don't want to hold it before you and say, yeah, I'm still reading this. So a lot of the books that I have finished in the last month include The Night Circus, which I had been hanging over me for a while, Mort by Terry Pratchett. I finished, oh, it's right here. Cassandra Speaks, nonfiction, really not very good. I also binge read some books that had come in right away. So for example, the newest Percy Jackson. I took a day off from work just to read this and it was 100% worth it. It was so delightful and Halloween and spooky and escapist, just delightful. I also finished Whalefall, which I'd got from the library. I didn't finish, I'm not going to be able to keep track of a lot of these. So if there's one in particular you're interested in, please let me know, because for example, I finished Whalefall, almost forgot about it, but then Home Sweet Haunt Sweet Home, whatever that one was, I just returned it. I decided not to finish it. I've also been getting better at reading the horrific number of books that I own rather than getting more from the library and stuff. So I finished Whalefall. I finished By Any Other Name by Jodi Picoult. I definitely am gonna have a vlog on that. I have a lot to say on that and on Shakespeare Was a Woman. I finished Break Up From Hell. I finished The Trial of Lotta Ray, which was phenomenal, really good. And that one I really thought it would take me ages to finish. That was a very lit fic, no elements of fantasy really, very heavy. Right where I'd left off became the turning point in the book. So it went from being about this very centered thing to following Lotta throughout the rest of her life. It involved the suffrage movement, which I'm always obsessed with, and insane asylums. It was amazing. So I think that's all the ones I finished for the month. I might still be missing one or two, but that's fine. So now we're going to quite literally move to what I'm currently reading. And let's hope I actually get them all this time. Last time, after I'd finished filming and editing and posting my currently reading video, I looked around and I was like, oh, yeah, and I'm reading that one. Oh, and I'm reading that one. Oh, and I started that one. Oh, and that one. Okay, now for what I'm currently reading, we're going to try to do this rapid fire. For Halloween, I got this tiny little book of Mary Shelley Gothic Tales. It's actually only 2 Gothic tales, and one of them isn't even a tale. It's nonfiction, but I'm in the middle of it. Second Death of Edie and Violet. I am slightly further, and it just turned into a book about the suffragettes, so I'm here for it. Still in the middle of this, not even middle, very beginning, haven't touched it. You can check out the last video for more details. I read half of the Impusium. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. One night while I was home alone, had the fireplace going, very spooky. This is a health resort horror story, and I was very excited to read my first horror story. It's not very horrific so far, and I have the feeling I know where it's going. I'm like 89% positive I know where it's going, and I don't think it's going to be very horrific to me. To men, maybe, but to me, no. So I'm actually kind of, it's not disappointing. I'm kind of excited for that. So I'm exactly halfway through, hoping to read the other half on Halloween, the day, which I'm filming this a few days beforehand. I'm more than halfway through Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I might have to do a video on this book. I might have to do a video on sci-fi for non-sci-fi people, because this one's interesting. This was billed as like the starter guide to Brandon Sanderson, especially if you haven't done sci-fi, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I just barely started Something in the Air. Absolutely loving it so far. They're in a marriage of convenience and don't have kids, but there's a stipulation on their inheritance that they need to have kids, and so they kind of put together a fake family really quickly. And I'm very excited for, I love chaotic family dramas, and it's just joyful. Also set in like Bridgerton, Jane Austen time period. Don't come for me, okay? I had to know. This is what I was saying in one of my very first videos, my first vlog. I have to read something for myself before I judge it. So I did pick up the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which, if you didn't know, is kind of book talks on TikTok, the book community's obsession right now. They even made a book talk exclusive edition that you buy through the TikTok store, which I have never bought anything through the TikTok store. I find it kind of sketchy. If you have, please share your experience, because I want to know. Because the TikTok edition is gorgeous. The sprayed edges, a hardcover. It's got like beautiful artwork in the front. But is this book really worthy of a special edition? It's just your classic. I'm about halfway through, and it's like those little mass market paperbacks, right? So they're slightly smaller than about this big mass market paperbacks. Just fluffy Hallmark love story set in a small town, all the fall vibes. There is spice. It is not as PG as Hallmark, but it's not that exciting really either. I also feel like a lot of book talk books have desensitized a lot of us. But anyways, it's not that bad. I'm kind of enjoying it, actually. For what it is, for just cute, fluffy, and fun. It's delightful. It's good. I actually have bookmarked a few like lines and passages that I just really enjoy. I also sometimes bookmark my commentary as I'm going along. For example, how is she so helpless? And then there was like a section where she was, Sighs, a town of heterosexuals. And then there was a section where she was describing how she was done with the like high pressure world of business in the city. And so she moved to a small town and opened a small business. And I'm like, girl, I don't think that's going to help with your stress levels. Anyone who knows anything about small businesses. No. I haven't technically started this yet, but it is my Shakespeare Book Club's next pick. I have 2 weeks. 2 weeks to read it. I actually saw As You Like It on stage at the Royal Shakespeare Company in Stratford-upon-Avon. And I was very distracted that night by how much I just loved Rosalind, who was playing her. She was phenomenal. I was just thought of nothing else. And they had a disco ball, so I was kind of focused on that, so I don't really know the plot. This book arrived at the very start of October. I wish it had arrived sooner. I love it. It's beautiful so far. I think it was written for me. Triplet witches running a tea shop, sent on a quest. That's all you need to know. It's delightful, beautifully written, so cozy, and they do their witchy, like, their witch talent is reading people's futures through like reading their tea leaves, which now I'm obsessed with wanting to learn how to read my tea leaves. I've actually been watching a lot of YouTube psychics and tarot readings lately, and I think this book is to blame. Barely in it, but that's because I'm really savoring it. Still haven't moved forward at all with this one. I read a little bit more of this one. Did I mention this one in the last one? I don't know. Another cozy, spells, cute island. The characters are less human than I anticipated. And I'm not quite that deep enough into fantasy that I want all my characters to be not human. Like, I'm fine with like fun, non-human sidekicks, but like they're telling me to picture the main character blue. Which, okay, yes, I did read The Ice Planet Barbarians, but again, they're like the side characters. The main characters are human. Whatever. This was one I forgot to mention last time. Love at First Night. Girl kind of goes to like, I'd started reading it in the summer because it was like, took place in the summer at a summer camp. Girl goes to like be a night counselor at a summer camp at the Tower of London. And the author actually lives in the Tower of London, or lived in the Tower of London with her father, who was one of the very special military personnel who get to live in the Tower of London. And I was very excited to read this, but the writing and this character is so aggressively shy, like it's concerning. But on top of all of that, I had started reading it while we were going through the process of like getting new phones. And so just sitting there in a, phone store in the mall for hours on end, hungry, the ick was the experience. So I need to like create a cute reading experience for me to read this. Will I pick it up before next summer? Who knows? I haven't moved forward at all in this. That's that. I am going to a Titanic exhibit come not next weekend, but the weekend after. And I had wanted to finish it before then, but now I'm thinking maybe that'll just be like a good thing in between then. I also already bought another book about Titanic survivors. So again, with the buying and the reading, and finally, oh no, hold on. I've moved a tiny bit forward in Great Expectations. It's gotten far more, like the plot's not more complex, but the characters, there's like, all of a sudden there's like 90 of them. So I was listening to it as an audiobook and I was like, I do not know who any of these people are. So now I think I have to start reading by hand so I can try to keep track of who people are a bit more, but this is where I miss English class, like getting like a handy worksheet with all the characters on it. I haven't moved forward with this book either, but I think I will. It's just gonna take some time, kind of more on the back burner side of things. I think this was another one I forgot to mention last time. I read like the first chapter, but I think I'd have to start over to start reading it again. So I don't know if I should count this one, but I also am just really excited for it. It's a retelling of Tangled, which is like my favorite movie ever. So I'm very excited about it. I'm like saving this one. One of my favorite quotes is about how your to be read pile isn't like, don't think of it as a hoard, don't think of it as stash. Think of it as like a wine cellar, right? In a wine cellar, you have these incredible, cherished, special, unique individual bottles, and you want to save them for the right occasion. You want to save them for the right meal. And to me, that's what owning a book and just letting it sit on your shelf is for. You save it for the right situation, and when that situation comes up, either the book knows or you find each other, and it's like, oh, thank you. This was just what I needed right now. I haven't moved forward with this one. I've been ignoring this one. I just want to get it over. This is one I just want it to be done. I haven't moved forward with this one at all, and I don't think I'm going to at the moment. I think this is going to shift from a currently reading pile to like we'll come back to it one day pile. just because so many other books that I'm reading right now involve the suffragettes in one way or another that I don't need one. And I haven't moved forward with this book at all, though I'm kind of intending to. We hope. I think that's it this time. Here's another one I forgot. Here's another one I forgot. Oh, and this one is one that I started ages ago, and I wrote myself like a little summary of what had happened, but it has been too long that, oh, there's my little summary, that I don't think even that would, see, I got like a fairly decent chunk, but I think I'm just gonna have to start over because I didn't understand it when I first read it either. I think that's it this time. I have a lot of other like fall centered books, for example, like this one. This one gives me fall vibes as well, as does this one. I'd love to, also with the world right now, I think I need some fluffy books. And I just got more in the mail today, as you saw. So yeah, that's my currently reading. Currently. Do I seem a little less crazy this time? Or are you still just like, girl? I'm far past the point where I can view myself as crazy. This is just my life.